Welcome back to Retail War Games. Today's guest is Tyler Howells, CEO of Cozy Earth. Thanks for coming, man.
Oh, thanks for having me. I'm excited to be here.
And this is, by the way, this is one of your sweatshirts, and I jacked it from you, so thank you for letting me steal that from you.
You came prepared.
Yes, and it is very comfortable.
Overdressed.
You look amazing.
Oh, no, you look great.
This is an Orem designer, by the way.
Oh,
that
nice.
is a really pretty dress,
Very
actually.
nice.
From Orem designer.
Yeah.
Who?
Tommaso Cardulo.
Oh, my gosh, I can't even say that.
He's
That
a-
sounds
I know who
amazing.
that is.
You know him?
Yep, his daughter Katie works for us.
Okay.
No way.
Yeah.
Small
she's
world.
great. Awesome.
He actually loaned me this. I can't afford it.
Oh,
but,
that's beautiful.
You know, if somebody
It looks-
wants to buy it for me.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, fantastic.
Advertise that one right there. So, Melanie, before we jump in and talk a little bit about Tyler and Cozy Earth, tell us a little bit about yourself. Right now, you're with Utah Business Magazine, editor-in-chief, which sounds
Correct.
like an incredible title.
It's an incredible title.
Yeah, I mean,
it's
I
for
would
an
die for that
incredible
title.
job.
I
Yeah,
know.
it's
Tell us
amazing.
about it.
Oh, wow. Well, we tell the good news business stories from Utah. You know, everybody talks all the time about how journalism is so negative and we only hear the sad stories and
Yeah.
the combative stories. And when's anyone going to tell the good news? Well, that's what we do.
Oh,
and
cool.
we focus on good news of business. So if your CEO is embezzling, we're not going to tell that story.
We're skipping that one.
Someone else is going to tell that
Yep.
story. We have other media outlets to tell that story, but who is telling the stories of the successful fundraisers?
Yeah.
Who is telling the stories of successful product launches? You don't get a lot of that in traditional media, and so that's our
That's
niche.
right.
We like to tell those stories, and it's so incredible because, you know, the bulk of my career has not been in publishing. This is a new gig for me.
Oh, interesting.
I
What
came
was
from
it- what was it for?
corporate.
Oh, that's what makes sense.
Yeah. So I was in the corporate world. I was 29 years at a manufacturer.
Mm-hmm.
Then I was almost 2 years at Unique here in Lehigh.
Oh, wow, yeah.
Really cool.
And then I jumped into publishing with virtually no experience whatsoever.
They probably figured out, they're like, man, that Melanie, she never uses Grammarly. She's really good. I wonder if we could pull her in. Is that what happened, basically?
No, I've always loved to write. I wrote on the college newspaper, so
Oh, cool.
it's not like they had to train me in the writing.
Yeah, you knew that part.
I was okay. Certainly my writers are better than I am, you know, because they've been doing it for years and years. But
I'm getting really lazy in writing. Like, I've noticed, it's kind of like, you know, the doctor scratch or whatever when they're filling out little prescriptions. But now I've noticed a new bad habit. I won't even write an email. I'll just write the whole email in the subject bar.
There you go.
And I'm like,
There you go.
my employees, I guarantee, hate me so bad. 'Cause I'm too old for this nonsense. I'm just going to
the
fill it in right
subject.
here.
you can't hit return.
No, it's too hard.
Yeah.
I mean, come on. I mean, how many times are you going to use that pinky in a day? Give me a break. So, Tyler, good to have you, man.
Thank you so much. I'm happy to be here. I've seen the podcast. I'm excited, honored to be invited.
Well, you're a pretty rocking dude. So, we're just chatting before the pod. So,
Rocking, literally.
literally, he was in rock band, by the way.
I played some music growing up.
So, what was it called?
Well, I just kind of did my own thing, but I had a band that I came up with, Case and Green and Joel Smith and some buddies of mine that played with me. So I wrote music and played guitar, sang, all growing up from high school all through college.
From California.
Yeah.
Likes surfing.
Love surfing.
Likes golfing. Likes chilling. Likes guitar. You're probably a Jack Johnson fan.
Yeah, for sure. I've
you?
actually played guitar with him before.
What?
Yes.
I love Jack
no
Johnson.
kidding. Yeah, for sure.
In fact, my entire college days was
Yep.
like not doing so much on the homework side.
Yep.
But after school, I'd go and I'd play beach volleyball listening to Jack Johnson.
No way.
Yeah, so it's right down your-
It's
right
kind
down
of
your
part like that generation, right? For me too. That
How
was a
did you
big part of the
play
beach
Jack
coast.
Johnson?
So we had just a mutual friend in California,
What?
and he said you got to meet each other. And so I was playing music back then, and we went up and met up, and it was kind of random, but it was at his house, and we just played together. It was
No
super cool.
way.
Yeah,
And
I
then
got
you
to play-
did the entire soundtrack for Curious George.
I said, bubbly toes. What were you doing?
I
Better
did
together.
I did play Mud Football, that song for him, and he's like, "That was good," So it's pretty
Dude.
cool. So, but yeah, no, I loved him growing up, and honestly, it's funny. We were as kids in the back of surf magazines. They'd have like new artists and stuff that would be back there, and one of them said, "This guy Jack Johnson," and my friend Adam just said, "Oh, I'm going to try it out and buy it." And the CD came, and it was like a burned CD with his handwriting on it written.
No way.
And it was like an EP. It was like 3 or 4 songs before his album even came out. We're like, this is awesome.
Dude.
And then I guess Ben Harper got a hold of him, was working with
Oh,
him.
yeah.
And then we went out and visited him at a small record store in Southern California. We went to go see him. and we're waiting in line, and the line was so long he had to do 2 shows. It was like he was that big already, like right out the gate. So we felt like it was like a really cool thing. And you know, he's part of the surf culture. He's from Hawaii.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah,
he actually got me into banana pancakes.
Oh,
yeah. So it was a song. I'm like,
to get you in the
"You
mood.
must be pretty good. Give me some of those banana
for
pancakes."
sure. No, but super cool.
Dude, that's
Great
crazy.
artist.
That was random. It's like,
Yeah.
do you like Jack Johnson? Oh yeah, I used to play.
And
this house
someone
No,
had
just
to
one time,
convince
one
you
time.
for banana pancakes.
Oh yeah,
Was
I know.
that a tough
Actually,
sell?
banana French toast is even better. You ever had that? Oceanside, they have a really good. I don't know what it is. It's like breakfast joint, but
Yeah.
we literally drive like an extra hour from wherever we're at,
Really?
Laguna or something, just to get that one restaurant. Get
You
some-
got to tell me where it is. I'm
Oh,
going
it's
down
amazing.
next week. So
I think it's
Yeah.
called Beach Break Cafe.
okay.
Yeah,
All right, hit
it's-
it up.
It's pretty good.
That sounds
So
good.
what brought you to Utah?
I went to BYU, and
Okay.
so I served a mission in Australia. I was telling you, speaking Mandarin. Came back, went to BYU, and then started kind of my first venture here. And then the company Cozy Earth that we started just started really growing a lot. And I was like, I think this is at home. So
There's how many Chinese speakers are there in Australia? And what was this in Sydney?
yeah, I was in Melbourne. So
Oh.
Melbourne and Tasmania. The mission, it's actually like 1/3 of Australia now is a Chinese speaker.
No way.
Yeah. So there are a ton of, people from all over the world. It's really a melting pot.
I didn't learn that from Bluey.
Yeah.
I don't see any Mandarin speakers in that.
Missed that episode.
No, it's
That's
crazy.
right.
But you see Chinese people everywhere, and they're coming from all over China. So you get to hear all the different accents, which is
No
super
way.
cool. So
That's cool.
there's a lot, and they're coming there for a Western education typically,
Yeah.
or even higher education. Other than just uni. So it was a really neat experience.
Is
and got to
Melbourne
meet a lot.
the city that's like you got everything on the East Coast and then you got like 5,000 miles of nothing and then there's
Oh,
Melbourne?
that's Perth. Okay,
Oh, that's
so
Perth.
is on the west coast.
Okay.
This is just directly south of Sydney. There's that island Tasmania that's underneath.
Yeah.
And it's where kind of all the cultural stuff happens. F1 racing happens there. The Grand Prix.
Oh, sweet.
The Melbourne Cup, which is one of the major horse races, and then they also have the Australian Open for tennis.
Did you get to go up to the Great Barrier Reef?
I never made it up
I
there, and
would've
we're
died.
talking about going.
You have to.
Yeah, we're
I've
talking
never
about
been.
going.
This sounds incredible.
Yeah,
I've never been either. But you know the cheap way to get there, right?
I don't.
Cargo ship. Jump on the back.
Probably even cheaper than what I had
Really?
in
What
mind.
is it?
Yeah.
Okay, so I did this with my kids
Okay.
year before last for fall break. You fly to Hawaii.
Okay.
This is a really sad travel itinerary.
Okay.
By the way.
That's okay. I'm
Yeah,
down.
sounding good so far.
Fly to Hawaii
yes, so far, so
because you
good.
can get deals from Salt Lake to Hawaii
Yeah.
all
Okay.
the time.
Yeah, you
If
can.
you're subscribed to flights from home.
SLC
Cool.
or whatever it is. Yeah.
Yeah, flights from home is amazing. And you'll see deals that are like high 200s, mid 300s
Crazy.
from
How's-
Salt Lake to
how's
Hawaii.
it even paying the diesel? I don't understand
Right?
that concept.
Okay, so you get there, and because it's always cheaper to fly kind of midweek instead of weekend, it's like you fly on a Thursday to Hawaii,
Okay.
and then you wait until like Monday or Tuesday to fly from Hawaii to Australia,
Okay.
and you do it on Jetstar,
No way.
which is
This
like
this
it's
is a cool tip.
yeah, it's a budget airline that's kind of like Frontier or something, where everything is a la carte, except their planes are nice. They're
Really?
so
Wow.
nice. And the food is really good.
Jetstar?
Jetstar.
Wow.
Flies from Hawaii to Australia, and then same thing on the way back, that you fly from Australia to Hawaii, wait like 2 days, and then come back to Salt Lake City. And I tell you, beyond the cost savings, because we got us all there for like high 700s, I think, a ticket, when normally to fly to Australia is
2,000.
way more
Oh,
than
yeah.
that. Okay, so I took my whole family, and the great thing besides the savings is that you get to Hawaii, and even though you're not the same time zone as Australia, it's like 22 hours difference or something like that.
Yeah.
So your clock is the same. So you
Oh,
go
yeah.
from Salt Lake to Hawaii, and you have some jet lag in Hawaii.
Mm-hmm.
But then when you fly from Hawaii to Australia, it's like it's a whole different day, but it's
Right.
almost the same
It's like
time.
going back. Wow.
Gotcha.
It's
Okay.
like
That's smart.
12 instead of 2 p.m., right?
Yeah.
It's a
12
really
p.m.
smart
and
move.
2 p.m.
Because
So-
I'm the person who's like, I don't think I can trust myself to like be on a plane without going crazy from here to Australia.
Yeah.
Like that's, for someone like me who's OCD, like I'm literally the guy, like when I get on a plane and I see these different aisle seats, I literally have to stretch my legs. Because
Oh.
I'm like, I got to get this out of me. I don't know if it's like anxiety or something in my legs, but the people next to me are like, oh, I got this guy next to me. But,
Restless leg
but it really,
syndrome
yeah,
on the
there's
plane.
no way I could go to Australia.
well, Hawaii
But
to
Hawaii to
Australia
can
is
do
way
I
shorter.
could, I
Yeah.
could definitely do Hawaii.
Yeah,
So,
and then it's 2 vacations in one. Like, who
That
doesn't want to
is.
go to both Hawaii
So
and
crazy.
Australia? And I
Yes.
just gave you all the
did.
justifications.
Yeah, you did.
Perfect.
You just made
Yeah, that sounds
my
amazing
year.
trip right there. Layover in Hawaii.
So
Yeah.
from Jack Johnson, so I'm starting to understand like the vibe of Cozy Earth. Jack Johnson, surfing. And
don't-
now everything's like
Cozy,
super
soft.
cozy. Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's kind
That's
of
the lifestyle, Like I grew up, on the beach with my friends and hanging out and playing music and just like, enjoying those restorative good times. And I feel like honestly that has consulted the brand a lot
Yeah.
of like, we like high quality experiences. That's
Yeah.
kind of like what we're focused on at Cozy Earth. And that's exactly what those are the things that kind of brought me the most relaxation and joy. And so, yeah, we focus the whole brand really similarly around that. And then obviously using our creativity to create something that's unique.
yeah. So you started off in linens.
I did.
Tell us
yeah.
kind of the origin story here.
Yeah, so I had been overseas, and I do a lot of long flights, so you wouldn't like where I go.
No, I would not be happy.
But I was overseas. I got kind of, knowing the language, I got really good at working directly with factories. Most companies, they kind of, fan through a catalog, or they'll go to a trade show,
Yeah.
and they feel some things, and then they say, yeah, that's good, and we'll take it. What I do is I kind of see what everyone's doing, and I say, how do we make it 50%, at least 50% better? And so we define that differently in each category. And I was doing that in different products. I started in hardwood flooring way back in 2008. I wanted to go sustainable, which was an important thing to me.
Yeah.
And so we went with bamboo. And when I was out there, they were like, you should feel this bamboo fabric that they're using. At the time, it was brand new. And honestly, most of it was really low quality. I mean, just like any type of fabric, it's, run-of-the-mill stuff is not really great. And it doesn't matter what it's made out of in terms of yarn. It just, you really have to dial it up to get it nice and like high quality.
Oh my gosh, that's where run of the mill comes from.
Exactly.
It's from textiles.
That's a real thing.
It clicked as soon as you
get it?
said it.
Yeah,
I
it's
get it.
totally connected.
Yeah.
And that's honestly the thing. But I found this fabric when I was out there, and I was like, can we make it better? Like softer, stronger, higher quality. I started doing research in all these different. I've always been a sheet snob. My mom jokes when I was in 5th grade. She's like, "What do you want for your birthday?" And I said, "I want the softest sheets we can find for my
right.
bed." And so my
That's
poor
right,
mom
Caleb.
drove me all over town. We went to Bed Bath, which is
you were how old?
I was 11 years old.
That's cool. That's a kid who knows what he wants.
5th
And
grade.
a patient mother.
And a very patient
and she's
mom.
like, okay. I said, my sheets, I want them softer. And so we went to Bed Bath and Macy's, and we went to like all these different Ralph Lauren. We went to all these different places, and I was like, I came home empty-handed. I literally did not find what I was looking for. When I was
Wow.
older, I was just, 5th grade me was super excited because I found like textiles that were really exciting to me, and I thought this is an area where people really aren't focusing, but it's something I couldn't think of something I'd purchased that I used more than my bedding. So
that's
like
true.
all day long, or all night long. So I was like, let me see what I can do here, and maybe I can use kind of my language. And that's the thing is like I started going back further in the supply chain to where the fabric was actually, because most of the time they'll say, yeah, we go to the factory, but it's the cut and sew area. And then there's like, where does the fabric go before here? And they're like, well, it goes to the dyeing factory. Well, can we go to the dyeing factory? And they're like, you want to go to the dyeing factory? I'm like, yes. I want to see like how it's made, what chemicals are used. It's important to me. And kind of if they're doing extra treatments, I started to learn about other brands of what they're doing that I did not like. And then I said, okay, what about what's before that? And they're like, fabric is woven. So we went to the weaving factory and we went to this, like I went to numerous factories, over the course of, it's been 15 years now. But I started looking at where they're weaving the product and how they're making the yarn. And then we worked with the yarn factories. And then we're like, where's the fiber come from? And then we eventually ended up literally
In
like
a bamboo field.
in the forest of the bamboo where they're cutting down the bamboo and where they're making the bamboo. And again, they don't let you back into that supply chain for obvious reasons. There's like trade secrets and they don't like it. But me, just a 6'3" American speaking Mandarin is funny to them.
Come along, dude. Let's see what happens.
Yeah. And they're just like, we want to meet this guy and like, you can talk to the boss and you can actually like really talk about the cultures and the differences. And I love the Chinese culture. I love the food. And so we had like, it was really a cool opportunity to kind of connect, that kind of bridge the gap and also get something exactly what we wanted. So the one thing that was interesting though was like when I first started doing this, because I was like, can we make it softer? And they're like, we can, but don't do that. And I'm like, why? And they're like, because it's expensive. And I said, I think it's okay. Like, I think people are willing to pay.
That's right.
If it's nicer and it's going to last and it's better. And
That's right.
and it's like truly better. It's not like I have to make some marketing ploy to tell you that it's better. It has to be better. And so they're like, nope. They're like, trust us. They're like, Americans only like cheap stuff.
Well-
They only like IKEA, Amazon, Wayfair, Shein. They keep going with these things. They say they only want to buy cheap stuff. They don't care if you wash it once. You know how you wash a T-shirt and it's never the same?
Oh, yeah.
After you washed it. They're like, Americans like fast fashion. We do it all the time. The volume is in that. Don't mess around with nice, high-quality things. The only people who care about high-quality things are Europeans and Chinese people.
Pinners Conference is back and better than ever. October 24th through the 26th at the Mountain America Expo Center. Explore the full shopping floor with more than 600 trending vendors while learning and creating in classes about DIY, cooking, beauty, home decor, self-improvement, and so much more. Use the promo code WARS for $5 off your tickets at pinnersconference.com.
That's what
Wow.
they tell me.
Well,
Whoa,
I think they-
Europeans and Chinese.
That's all they would
That's
say.
like a spectrum for us.
Exactly, because you think, Chinese people want low quality things.
Right.
They are in the same boat. If you go back to your
wow.
grandparents, think about like the furniture, how long they kept it, and how it was
Yeah.
still in good shape.
Yeah.
Think about the sofas that you sat on.
Well,
that
and
much longer they
textiles
lasted.
make sense. You think about
Yeah.
Chinese silk. That's
that's right.
That's what comes to your mind. is
Exactly.
Chinese
They
silk.
like high quality things
Yeah.
that last and that are truly like making a difference in their life, where we got to a point where we just need new. We just need new things that change. And so I said, well, how do we do both? How do we get something that's new and beautiful and awesome, but actually stands the test of time, that you can wear for a longer period of time, that's going to do more for you than just be soft? And that's the added utility we call. So everything we have, we say, how do we make it better? And we define what that would be in each category. And then we say, how do we add utility to it so it's even better? So in the case of our clothing and our bedding, it's temperature regulation and it's superior softness. It's softer than
Yeah.
anything you've felt before.
Well, I'll tell you, I'm a big fan of like the evolution of textiles. I went to high school in the late 90s.
Yeah.
And any shirt that you bought back then, it was like, shirts just weren't comfy back then.
Yeah,
right?
no.
It feels like a $5 shirt that you'd buy right now off Amazon.
Right.
That's all they had.
Right.
But now you see like this explosiveness of other brands like yours, and you're like, yeah, this is kind of a different world that we're living in right now.
Yeah, I think it is going back to that Main Street ideal. Like
Yeah.
one thing that was explained, they talked about the rise of DNVBs, and for a long time they were just doing one product, like a toothbrush or a mattress. But what they're doing now is like really trying to fine tune it to the needs of what your lifestyle is, what you would like that would make it better on you. And you have the freedom to be able to choose and to research and to look out there and see what you have.
Yeah.
And it's kind of more of a Main Street than a big box, mentality. For a while, it was just about convenience. The big box, everything was in one box. My dad tells a story where he said that when he went to college, he said that he needed pants. So he drove downtown to Salt Lake. He grew up in Salt Lake. And he said that he went to the pants store. And he said he got
Wow.
measured for 5 pairs of pants to wear during the week. And then they were the pant people, and they made these awesome pants.
Yeah.
And he said that's what he wore all semester and the semester after. So then it went to like, let's just be convenient, and you go to a big box and it'll have everything.
Everything, yeah.
Sears, you can buy remember that? You could buy a lawnmower.
Oh, everything.
They're gone now, right?
Yeah.
But you could buy a lawnmower and you could buy
But
some pants.
they did start that though, for sure.
They did. And so that went kind of like through that whole evolution. And now it's back to like, no, I can actually procure what's right for me.
Yeah.
And like really speaks to me. And I can use my dollars more wisely instead of just like a catch-all, like I'll find something at this big place,
It's the opportunity with e-commerce, right?
Yes, it is. I think it was lost for a minute. If you look back, like I said, a lot of companies were only focusing on one thing. So they would sell you, and I think that's the folly. You guys know that a lot of these consumer brands, the ones that are around now are much stronger. But 5 years ago,
Yeah.
you saw a lot of consumer brands come into the digital marketing space, getting a lot of venture capital money, and they were saying things like, "We have this one, a toothbrush, for example."
Yeah.
And it's the best toothbrush ever, and we're going to spend $100 million telling you how great this toothbrush is. And then eventually their customers are like, all right, we got enough toothbrushes. What else you got?
Yeah.
And they're like, toothpaste. And you're like, hang on a second. You told us you were the toothbrush
Yeah.
master,
Yeah.
not toothpaste. And so then they would go somewhere else for the toothpaste.
That's right.
And I think that what happened was there was no it was more like, hey, it's convenient. You can just buy this online, and it's kind of the same as what you get in the store.
Yeah.
But now I think you really have to think outside the box and be like, and this is what we're about at Cozy Earth, is we're thinking of like, what do we like to do? Our big thing is 5 p.m. to 9 a.m. So you have your 9 to 5 that you work, but we talk about 5 to 9. When you get home, what's your routine when you get home?
I immediately take off this gorgeous thing.
Exactly.
It literally is the same
Immediately.
thing at my house. It's like I'm immediately down to something that's comfortable.
Yeah.
Exactly. And so a lot of times that outfit, maybe you got to run and pick up the kids from something or whatever. You want to still feel confident in what
Yeah,
you're wearing.
that's right.
But it's your comfy clothes time. It's time to be comfortable. And us guys, like you've seen it back in the day in high school, guys were walking around in these dingy basketball shorts or something that wasn't just like mismatched or something.
Yeah, that's right.
Some T-shirt they caught at a ball game.
Yep.
What we're saying is like you can still be confident and look amazing and feel amazing.
That's right.
But you've transitioned to this time of day, which is your most important and your most looked forward part of the day. That's your time.
So what happened when you started with linens and you moved into fashion?
Yeah.
Completely different vertical.
Right.
And I mean, we did a whole fashion issue in November. So I know like fit
Yeah.
is a pain for producers.
Huge difference.
So how did you jump from
Yeah.
being a linen producer to fashion?
Oh, that's a great question, and that's a great call out too. Fashion is completely different.
A lot more SKUs.
A lot more SKUs. It's not a rectangle like bedding, right? It's like everybody's different, and you got to kind of reach out to that. Here's how it happened. We have always been agnostic to where we lead. We kind of want to go where the current is going for our customers. So we talk to them constantly, and we're saying like, how are you using our product? How do you love it? And we have these trade shows. I visited 80 different trade shows, high-end trade shows with like interior designers and retailers over the course of 7-8 years. Wow. And during that time, I'd get tons of feedback in conversation with those customers about, hey, do you have something, can you apply your snobbiness in textile to clothing? Like, what about pajamas? Like, what about, some other things to wear? And I started to explore this and visiting around these factories and seeing what we have. And again, if we don't really believe that it's 50% or more better than everything else that's out there, and we'll buy everything, Louis Vuitton all the way down to the sweats your dad said he liked at Costco or something, and we'll say, how do we improve on this? Then we won't launch it. But we came across some amazing clothing that we all loved and we wanted, and we were like, this is jaw-droppingly good. And it really does, like similar to our bed sheets, which are known to be incredible, our comforters, our all of our bed linens, our pillows. We said we have a hit here. And so we just said, let's try. Let's see if it's that much better. If the product is great, then the customer will take notice, and they'll give us license to go in that vertical. It wasn't like a business decision, like, hey, we need to open up a new vertical or whatever. But we said, look, let's look at it and just deliver great products, because we've had such success in delivering good bedding, maybe the clothing. And now clothing is a huge part of our company.
It was more of a pull. It was more them saying, hey, look, we've got other applications, and maybe you should look into it.
Yeah.
And maybe after a while, you get enough of those, and you're like, okay, should probably take this serious.
100%. And frankly, we got Oprah's favorite things.
Wow.
So with
4 times, right?
6.
Oh, 6.
What
I
on
read
earth?
something outdated.
Yeah, no.
6 years in a row.
Is
Yeah.
that like,
Yes.
has anybody else done that?
I don't think so, but I don't know, and I'm super proud of that. But
Wow.
but honestly,
Did she actually like review it herself?
Yeah, 100%. It's
does.
like I
Oprah's
was
down
a
with
little
cozy.
Yeah, I was a little like what's the word? Like skeptical.
Yeah.
As to whether or not how much she like participated in the
Yeah.
whole thing. She is hands-on. She has to love the products. She will make suggestions of stuff she likes. It's a big part of her brand.
So what products did she like? What were
So the
your
first thing
favorites?
was our bed sheets and our duvet cover.
Really?
So yeah, we actually when we first started, we were doing a trade show, and we had ran into her creative director, and he was telling us, he was kind of just kind of perusing, and we were trying to talk to him, and he wasn't really, and we didn't know who he was at first.
Yeah.
And then we realized who he was, and he said it's great, and he left. And then we're like, we think that was her creative director at O. And so he came back around another show like 6 months later, and he says, Oprah really likes your bedding. And we said, really? Is it one of her favorite things? He's like, I don't know. What other colors do you have? And at the time, we only had white. Wow. And so we're a
'Cause
small.
you're like dye-free.
Yeah, we
Yep.
hadn't found anything that had satisfied kind of our demands yet at that time. And so we said, it's just this. And he goes, okay, what do you got? What products and stuff? And then nothing. And I said, can I send it to you guys? He says, send it to this address, So we sent it back to that address. And then nothing for months. And then in September, we got a phone call and said, hey, you've been selected as one of Oprah's favorite things. Congratulations. So amazing.
That's crazy. What year was this?
2018.
What happened to sales? Like, tell me the 30 days following that.
Yeah, it's funny. Nothing happens until Black Friday is when they come out. I think the second week or something of November is when they announce it.
Okay.
And it wasn't like rocket, through the roof kind of whatever. It accelerated sales, but we didn't know what to expect. We're just happy that we had that endorsement.
Yeah.
What really came for us later is just being able to leverage that on our marketing later, and that really made a huge difference. Also, it got us entree into other celebrities, billionaires. Like we have a huge Rolodex of very influential people who can choose anything they want to sleep on or wear, and they choose Cozy Earth. And that, I honestly believe they got entree.
Are we allowed to say any of those people? I want to know who's using it.
Well, yeah, Pink, the singer Pink.
Oh, cool.
Her tour bus has complete Cozy Earth, her home.
That's rad.
The Kardashians have our stuff.
Jeez.
Who else? Hillary Duff is a big fan of our products.
That's crazy.
Denzel Washington, his wife, buys from us constantly.
No way.
The owner of the 3 NFL teams own our stuff. Eric Schmidt from Google. I mean, Michael Jordan.
When you get to that level, it's kind of like what you say. Like
he just slipped in Michael Jordan.
Michael Jordan.
Did you hear
Yeah,
that?
little MJ.
Yeah.
MJ 23.
Oh yeah, one
Yeah.
more.
No.
Inconsequential.
But it's kind of like what you're saying. Like,
Yeah, I
it's
will
not like
take
you can't buy those, right? I mean,
Yeah.
they're just gonna. They actually really like the product more than anything. They like to have the product more than anything else.
Yeah.
Otherwise, they're not going to endorse it.
No,
it's
and,
not like
and our
it's-
stuff is not trend sensitive either. It's not like you're not doing it because it's cool. You're doing it because it's awesome. Does that make sense?
Yeah,
like
for sure.
it really does like a good thing for you. So we're not trying to like get on some TikTok trend. We're just trying to change your life with your bedding and your clothing.
Whoa.
Yeah.
So how much do you focus on social media?
We do a lot with social media, a lot of influencers, a lot of people that we work with. We have partners all over the place that like our product, but we want to make sure they love our product, So we're very vigilant about kind of researching who they are, what they like the product. We want it to be authentic.
So do you like micro-influencers or?
Both. So we work with all of the above. We found no rhyme or reason for like why one works and why one doesn't. And we try to stay agnostic. The big thing that we try to do though is say like you have to love the product. So we demand that they try it and that they see if they like it, and we talk to them about it and we kind of get that vibe, and then we say, okay, we feel like you could be a really good
they're gonna want to
mouthpiece for us, and also just share with your friends and family. Like word of mouth has been a huge thing for us.
Interesting. Do you see a big boost when they post?
Sometimes
It depends on the person.
it depends on the person. Sometimes.
Who are some of your best ones that have performed the best?
I can't call that off the top of my head, but I can tell you this.
Yeah.
With influencer or anything else you do in marketing, it's not just one thing.
Yeah.
It's got to be an echo chamber.
That's right.
And so it used to be one thing. Like you used to be able to, send an influencer. Like people would do that, and we couldn't because we were more bootstrapped. So we didn't write these huge checks into the ether and be like, hey, like we hope it works. Cross your feet. Oh, it didn't work. Let's send 10 more. So what we had to do is really be strategic about how we leveraged what we had. And I think as we did that, we said, okay, let's you used to be able to send it out and there'd be a spike, and it wasn't ever for us that case. It always had to be a slow burn.
Yeah.
And I think it was always in conjunction with our ads and with other things that we were doing in marketing in general. I think that echo chamber and it bouncing off those walls, and also having obviously great retention programs, because that's the other thing too. Our customers, 50% come back and buy again within weeks.
Oh, wow.
So it's huge. Like we have people who try something and then they come back and buy again. And 50% of our customers at any given time are returning customers. So that makes a huge difference in terms of leveraging your ability to grow the business. And they don't do that unless the product is exceptional.
Have you done wholesale clubs like Costco or Sam's or BJ's?
None of that.
Have you thought about it?
We've thought,
you guys
thought,
would kill it.
We've thought,
I'm sorry.
Really?
You guys would kill it in those avenues.
we thought about it. A big part of it is like, where are our customers, and we're okay to go to places where they are. I've asked our company to do the harder thing first, which is like direct to consumer right now is the hardest thing you can do.
Yeah.
It's the customer acquisition costs have gotten super high.
Yeah.
People are hurting. There's a flattening of the curve in terms of the growth of these facts. But for us, I've said to the company, like, let's continue to grow, through direct to consumer and prove that we can do this economically, profitably. And we have been able to do that for several years. But you have to come out with great products. You have to be like incredibly, you have to have a hardworking team, and the team that we have is awesome.
Kind of going back to supply chain, during COVID, did it help quite a bit that you knew Mandarin?
Yes. Yeah.
I'd imagine. I mean, that's when the world was right? I
That's a good.
everything's
Yeah, that's a really good call
jacked
out.
up.
Yeah, I think the thing that helped the most, Mandarin definitely, opened that door for me. But the thing that really helped the most is just a friendship. Like,
Yeah.
Which came from the language, right?
Right.
Yeah, that's right.
It's like you're not just another guy bossing him around from overseas. It's like we've eaten dinner at your house. We know my kids. Like we have not just a rapport, but like a true, I call it a brotherhood. Like I have friends out there that are like my brothers,
It's tight, yeah.
And not just in China now, we're in Vietnam, and I was just in Bosnia actually just recently, and Italy, and we carry the same kind of like, the culture for us is like we want relationships with these people, and we want to know who's working there, what are their working conditions, how can we help, how can we make it better for you, oh, you need this, you need that. So yes, during COVID, when it's everything's on the phone or through technology, it's like a different kind of conversation. It's let's work through this together, let's link arms and try to make it work.
Tired of spending $30,000, $50,000, or even $100,000 on trade show booths? Try Volcanic Retail, a cost-effective solution to reach key industry players without the hefty price tag. Brands can now access an exclusive introductory offer available only to podcast listeners. For just $279 a month, you'll gain access to hundreds of thousands of retail buyers, contact details for over 10,000 top influencers by retail channel, and the opportunity to pitch your products to over 70,000 retail locations. Head over to volcanicretail.com today to sign up.
Well, go ahead.
Do you have any co-branding that you're doing with other
We've
entities?
done some things. Top of mind, I can't really recall. Little by little, we're getting into that, and we're interested.
You're talking about your whole origin story and going to China and negotiating with these people.
Yeah.
It reminds me so much of Sean Nelson's.
Oh yeah.
And then
Oh,
I'm
yeah.
like, oh my gosh, a Cozy Earth love sack
Oh,
cover
that could be nice.
would be amazing.
That would be
Smart.
cool. That is super cool.
You're hired. Just kidding.
Yeah,
no, that's
so-
super cool.
And I
Yeah.
love to match make, so if you don't know
Okay,
Sean,
I
like you
don't.
two should be best friends.
Oh, that'd be awesome.
'Cause
Yeah.
That is a
he's-
really good
he
concept.
served his mission Chinese
I
speaking as
remember
well.
hearing this. It's funny.
Yeah, and so the beginning of his story, he's in China
Yep.
talking to different
Wow.
textile producers, and he didn't let them know that he spoke Chinese.
Right.
So he's actually hearing them all talk about what's the lowest we could go.
Yeah.
Like he knew
Smart
all
dude.
of it, and then he got the
Right.
best pricing.
Oh, that's
because
so
of that.
cool.
Oh, that's
It's
super
funny. I
smart.
missed a little bit of his when Lovesack was really rocketing. I was in Australia, so I was kind of unplugged. But when I got back, everyone was telling me the stories, and then every apartment my friends had, everyone had a Lovesack.
Everyone's
Oh,
got
yeah.
one.
And I was like, man, this is such a great thing. And I'd heard more of that stories had gone on, but that's fantastic. Yeah, I've always admired it.
You guys should talk.
I should.
for
Yeah, that'd be
sure.
super fun.
And you reminded me of another story too. So when you were talking about Oprah
Yeah.
and being on the favorite things, Lit Joy Crate here in American Fork
Okay.
is also on the
Oh,
favorite things.
great.
So it sounds like that didn't cause a rush on your inventory. Your social media presence has never caused a rush either.
Right.
Have you ever had something where inventory became a problem for
Good
you
question.
because there was like a spike?
Yeah.
And then how do you manage that?
I mean, we've had tons of spikes, right? During different holidays, we've been featured on Good Morning America. The first time we were featured on Good Morning America, we had a massive spike. I think there's been, many times where we perpetually, and our customers will tell you where we've been out of stock of things and we've had to kind of catch up. I would say, a couple of things. One is, COVID. Everyone always asks me about the COVID spike. They're like, "You're a home goods company. Like, how did it go during that time?" We did see an influx, but it wasn't like insane. And I'm so grateful it wasn't like through the roof because we were able to kind of manage it in a way where we didn't have that COVID hangover, where we had too much product and we had other things. I think we've always tried to manage the business so we could, have enough to sell, but not. Again, we didn't have these endless deep pockets. Getting started. So we're like, how do we, create demand and satisfy most of it, but also get it back in time when it's back in stock. So holidays are big for us. Mother's Day. I mean, we have stuff during the summer that we do that are really good. Q4 is incredibly big for us usually. But I would say the biggest spike we've ever received, let's see, single day spike. I don't know. Memorial Day. We just had Memorial Day. That was one of our biggest days ever.
Wow.
Just on Memorial Day. So we're still growing. Our company's up 30-40% this year. So it's still growing quite a bit.
Yeah.
And we're just kind of trying to ride each one of these as we go.
GMA is kind of interesting for me. So when I used to do some Shark Tank stuff, quite a few different Shark Tank brands, and the numbers that they'd pull in the day from airing on Shark Tank almost always mirrored what they'd pull in on GMA.
Wow.
I don't know if there's any correlation, but there's a few different case studies that I had that I was kind of watching, and it would be like, it was like the exact same. It'd be like 30,000, 30,000, 40,000, 40,000. I don't know if, what it's like with higher price point items, but it's obviously it would be a big boost.
Anytime you can get to a new audience all at once like that, it's good. There have been a few influencers, and I'm trying to think of their names, so forgive me, but we've had one or two influencers that have given us a big boost in a day. But then, the second time is not what it was the first time. Right. And so you kind of just you want to get out to audiences that you can go to. I think wholesale unlocks an opportunity in that regard, especially with betting. But again, like what I'm really focused on is a digitally centric model at first here, and then let the other things around the periphery kind of connect into that.
I got a question on your supply chain. You're talking about how you went around. Did you ever? So a question I've always had with supply chain is manufacturing colors. It's always kind of blown my mind. Like, how do they? I mean, originally they do it off of plants or whatever the deal is, but as everything's become as the quantities have really increased, they obviously have to manufacture. Did you ever see that process?
Dyeing?
Dyeing and actually creating the dye.
It gets ugly.
Does it?
For dyeing, there's not just dyeing, there's treatments to fabrics that are done, like spray treatments that keep it from pilling. And so there's other things that they put on fabrics that are not good. It's not just like, it's everyone in the whole world. Yeah. Okay. So, China's gotten a bad rap on this.
But it's everyone.
And honestly, China's been cracking down huge on this kind of stuff. There's a gentleman, one of the dyeing factories I was just at recently, they have once a week, they have unannounced, they have a government official coming in checking everything.
Wow.
To making sure that there's no harmful chemicals or toxins. But not all of them are that way. They just haven't made it out to them yet. You know what I mean? Where they're at. So obviously we choose ones that are way more responsible and don't do that kind of thing. But yeah, I mean, it's gotten better, and they really, overseas or anywhere else that you're manufacturing product, they're driven by the consumer. So again, if we're buying really cheap stuff all the time, you just use your imagination on what that's going to entail on the other side of where it's made. And that's where I think people aren't making the connection. They're like, oh, I can buy 10 swimsuits instead of one.
Yeah.
But the truth is like, you're going to pay for it in a different way.
And another thing that I think people don't connect always, they're probably looking at your website to see, are you made in the USA?
Right.
Yeah.
And they see that the fabric is produced in China.
Right.
And they're like, well, I don't want that.
Yeah.
I was talking to Fernanda Bohm.
Oh, yeah.
And she was
I know her well. She's great.
She's great. And she was like, she's from Bohm, by the way, if people don't know her. And she said, unless the U.S. wants to invest in teaching all of our children how to become expert textile workers,
right,
and creating this expertise within our country and the machinery required to do that, the best fabrics come from the expertise centers.
Sure.
And for textiles, that is in Asia.
Right. And it's not even close, the competition. So China, for a long time, their government gave 0% interest loans to factories to be able to become conglomerates and to build state-of-the-art facilities for everything you can imagine, really. Not everything, but almost, especially in textile. And so, one of the places I went to was it was a city, 2 million people, and almost everybody there worked for this conglomerate in the city. When you go into the building, there's only about, it's probably, I went in this building, it's a row of buildings that actually weave the fabric, and each one is probably 4 football fields long and about 2 football fields wide, of machines that are running from Austria, Italy, Japan. They're not Chinese machines that are running these high quality, very specific needling techniques to bring it together. And in those buildings, each of those buildings are 4 football fields long, 2 wide, there's maybe 6 employees.
Wow. Because
most of it's automated. And so there's a talk, politically speaking, this is not a political discussion, but there's a talk politically speaking that, hey, we need to bring those jobs back. And I always say, what jobs? Like, those aren't the jobs that we
There's
want.
6.
That's
You
right.
want to bring
There's
6
6 people.
jobs to Utah.
Yeah, 6 jobs that
get
are
it,
walking
guys.
through this factory.
We'll have to develop some
fives.
textile expertise
Yeah.
and hire 6 people.
Exactly. And
Yeah.
each machine, they had this machine. I said, this one machine that they had was like all it did was it had a vacuum on it. And because when they make, short story, when they make yarn, they start with a rope and they bring it all the way down to a thread. And each machine makes it thinner and thinner and thinner. And this last machine that they have, it has to grab the thread. And they used to use human capital. Humans had to grab it and pull the thread to connect the last 2 together. And the Japanese created a machine with a vacuum that actually connects that last string together, so you don't need it. The machine is $500,000 a piece.
Jeez.
And I asked them how many they had, and they said 500 in the building. And they said we bought that many to make this together. So the scale cannot be comprehended of like
a
what they're
different game.
doing there. And also, China wants to get out of this game. They want simple manufacturing gone. They want to start making software like us.
Yeah.
So they're making TikTok. They're making like things that have higher margin and that require a more educated workforce, which is what we've always had over everyone else, is higher technology. We had the Industrial Revolution first. We moved out of it, right? Most of it. And so that's what we're going to is, now AI is a big thing. We're trying to get ahead of that. It's not that everyone would work in AI. You still have jobs in simple manufacturing, farming, all these kinds of things. But part of it, like the burgeoning of a society, depends on the education of the workforce. And so a lot of that's moving to Southeast Asia, which is helping their country start to grow up. And they're going through a similar thing.
So something that I heard recently, which kind of blew my mind on China, and I'd like to see if this held true with your experience, is that depending on the region of the country you're in, is the type of manufacturing you're allowed to do. So if you're born in one region, they say this is the category that you must operate in. Did you find that true? Did that hold true?
Yeah,
too?
I mean, socks, the guys from Stance will tell you that they're only made in one city, really. There's other ones that do it, but there's one major kind of, city where they do that. That's also a product of communism, frankly, of just like, hey, we need to like organize ourselves. And so the people who make this, it's easier for them to kind of share notes and to get fabric, the kind of fabric that they would need
share
for what
the
they
machines.
do. Yeah, so and they've done it. They've followed a similar model in other countries in Southeast Asia I've visited as well, where they're like, hey, it's better if we do this type of thing here. But again, like even like the environmental stuff, I've been traveling to China for almost 20 years, and it's changed a ton. But on the environmental side, they are very concerned about their air quality. They're very concerned about what's in the water.
That is so interesting.
Yeah, they are.
Because I think a lot of us like operate off of really old data.
Yeah.
We're like, China doesn't care about jack.
Right.
But I mean,
Why
it's
should we
interesting.
do the Green New Deal when
Nobody else is doing it.
Yeah.
But to hear people that are actually on the ground is very interesting.
Yeah. No, it's interesting to see. I mean, it's just like anything. It's game of telephone.
Yeah.
And also, everybody needs an enemy to win elections or
everyone-
whatever they need to do.
old narratives and
So we're all
everything
kind
else.
of pointing fingers all the time. But that's the cool thing I like about travel and working with different places is we are all one big family. We all have families and kids we're trying to support. We're all trying to,
Same goal.
we have a totally aligned goal in that sense.
Yeah.
So it's really cool.
Oh, that is fascinating. So what new product line have you created that you're looking at and you're like, man, this is kind of a new venture for us.
Oh my
but
gosh,
we're
we
looking
have
forward to it.
exciting stuff coming out. We have almost 200 things coming out this year.
Oh, new SKUs?
Not yet new SKUs, but like several new products that we're going into. We're expanding into loungewear even more so, and sleepwear.
Does it come in tall?
It does. We have some tall stuff.
Oh my gosh,
Yeah.
nobody has talls.
We do have some tall stuff, and
awesome.
if we don't have what you want, I can call my friend and he'll make it for you. So yeah, it's really easy. But yeah, we do have tall stuff.
That's awesome.
We have some petite stuff as well, which is really good. We do loungewear, apparel, bedding. We have new bedding coming out, new decorative bedding.
Okay.
We have these towels that are incredible. We just came out with a new beach towel that's just it. You're like, well, you never think about beach towels, right? You just buy them when you're in Cancun or wherever you're at. These are so soft and they're beautiful.
Okay, random question on
Yeah.
that. What size is the beach towel? How big
Oversized.
is it?
Everything's oversized.
I've noticed that everything's getting oversized with beach towels. I just saw one
Yes.
yesterday.
Yes.
How big is it?
I don't know the exact dimensions, but you would easily fit in it, and so would I.
Okay.
And that's the key is like I need to use it because I need big towels. Our towels for the bathroom, you will throw out all your other towels if you get one. I promise.
Oh,
It's that
interesting.
good. It's so plush and soft. It's zero twist. It's this unique type of zero twist that I literally have searched everywhere for.
Tell everybody what twist means.
Twist has to do with the pile. So you have a floor basically.
Yeah.
If you think about it, like a carpet
Yeah.
that you have inside there. And what they'll do is they'll twist each one of the terry pieces that are inside of a towel.
Oh, interesting.
And if you can get rid of the twist, it's way softer hand, and you can actually get better absorbency with it too.
Interesting.
But when you do that, most of the time it will flake, and you'll get things that come off of it.
Yeah.
Where we've created a way that it doesn't do that.
I've always kind of felt like that's one category that hasn't progressed in like 50 years is beach towels.
Yeah.
But do you always feel like that? You're like, who's buying this 6 foot tall beach towel that's like a
Yep.
foot and a half wide and that, I mean, yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah, so we just think about it. We're like, how do we make it better, and how do we kind of be more festive for summer? We're excited about summer. We want things
Yeah.
to come out. How do we connect to these different parts of your home? Is what we're thinking. We're thinking about the pool side. Like what would you put out there that's cute,
Yeah.
that looks good? What would Kevin Costner or Denzel put out by the pool?
That's right.
Cozier towel.
Well, okay, so outside of Utah and California,
Yeah.
what other states are like the biggest Cozy Earth users?
All the major metropolitan areas.
Oh, really?
So yeah, if you look at New York, I mean,
High-end clientele,
Florida,
kind of stuff, yeah.
Austin and Dallas, all the major metropolitan areas are like where we have over 3.5 million customers.
Wow.
All over the country. And then we even have stuff, outside of the country as well that's growing as well. So like everywhere you think of that's got, big population, we're growing.
That is incredible.
Yeah, it's super fun.
Fastest growing category of what you sell?
Whew. Right now, it's probably our loungewear is growing probably the fastest.
Oh, wow.
Our towels are really picking up steam. So
Oh,
we just
wow.
launched the towels like a year and a half ago. They've been great. We also came out with a cuddle blanket that's been killing. So there's a few. The way we look at it, in general, is like we don't say, again, we're not looking for one winner.
Yeah.
We're looking for the best product in the category. So, I came up, I was actually an English major. Like, were you an English major?
No way.
I was not.
Oh, okay.
Digital communication.
So I love writing and reading stuff. My dad was too, but then he went on and got a master's in marketing. He went to Procter & Gamble. Johnson & Johnson, my uncle and dad went to Procter & Gamble, and they said that each these companies, they had all these different brands that were different pillars, economically for the company. And so I said, well, if the product's great in the category and it's the best one, and the customers start to believe what we say, and it's proved out through the reviews and through the feedback that we're getting, then we think we don't need to get all the people. We don't need to get 10% of the total addressable market for toothbrushes in this middle mass market. We just need to prove to everybody that it's the best, and then we need to get a smaller chunk of many total addressable markets.
What's an ideal store that you're like, my products belong in that store? One that you're kind of
Cozy Earth.
Well,
you
let's
going
talk about
retail?
that. You are launching your own store.
We are. So
let's talk about
we're
that.
actually building our first flagship store. It's in Corona Del Mar, California,
That's
off of
rad.
Pacific Coast Highway.
Why not here?
Yeah, what's up with that? Bring one here.
Well, I grew up in Orange County, so that's
Pacific
one
Coast
part of
Highway.
it.
Are
It
you
definitely
saying
fits there.
California has more need for beach towels than
Maybe
we
so.
do?
Maybe so.
Say we don't use the Great Salt Lake enough? What's going on
Maybe
here?
so. No, we have.
full of arsenic. You
We're
can't do
so
that.
excited, but
That's exciting.
We have this great. We're actually renovating a bank, an old bank that was there. It's not that old, but we're doing the exterior and interior and really creating like that experience for the customers to come touch and feel and experience all the products we make. Because a lot of people don't know that like it's not just one thing we make. There's people who only know us by our PJs or only know us by our socks. They only know by one thing. So we're happy for them to get that and to feel that product. That will be open in the fall, hopefully, and then hopefully some stuff's coming to Utah. We're working on some
Oh,
other
I was
stuff.
just-
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Bring it down. So bringing the Bohms back into it.
Yep.
Yeah.
Vivian, that might be controversial for I'm going to hear your opinion on it. She said that Utah leads California in fashion. Is that true?
In what way?
I don't know. I have no idea. I'm guessing.
There's a
Maybe,
joke.
maybe fashion innovation. Maybe
I have-
maybe that.
sure.
I would think the influencer culture is so strong here, right? And they're obviously like a huge driving force behind fashion. I would think that's true. I mean, I could see a lot of trends getting started here.
Yeah.
It's funny, when I was a kid, you would travel, I would travel from California to here, and they would be wearing completely different things than we were wearing.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Right? And they had their own cool thing, and I probably looked weird to them and vice versa. But now it's like there's been a homogenization with
That's
the
true.
internet and where is that being influenced? That would make sense to me, actually. And honestly, a lot of people, I've heard a funny, that show, did you guys see that new show on Netflix with, it's called Everybody's in LA. Did you see that thing?
Yeah, I haven't seen it.
There's a joke in there, but he says everybody in LA dresses like slobs.
Oh.
like they look terrible.
Yeah.
And honestly, I think people here do take care of themselves and like really try to like look their best. And I think that could
Somebody else
could
was
influence
just saying that on the same pod. It might have been Vivian.
Yeah.
That's kind of it's kind of the style is kind of.
I could see that.
And also that that Utah is number 1 on influencers and Arizona's number 2. Do you think that's right?
That's got to be true.
With percentage of influencers?
I would think that's got to be true.
Yeah.
We've seen it. There's a ton here that are doing their thing, and honestly, they got started before everyone else too. They were kind of first mover.
My wife would always say that like Utah used to intimidate her because she grew up internationally. She's kind of high fashion. But at the time, she lived in Boise, but she'd always say she'd come on down to Utah, and all the girls looked like really put together.
Yeah.
And I think that's kind of I don't know.
Yeah, our guys got to pick it up.
We've been slacking for years. It's been just terrible story. But
That's right, exactly.
I want to go to your store now.
Yeah,
I'm
man,
down to
we just come
California.
down. Yeah, it's gonna be great. I think it's gonna be a cool vibe, and that's the whole goal. Is like we're really looking at it as a place where we can let people into the culture of Cozy Earth and let them experience it like full circle.
Well, that's rad. Well, thank you for coming on,
Thank you,
joining.
guys.
Thank you, Melanie, for coming on and doing the
So
same
glad to
thing.
be here.
Unbelievable. Well, as we kind of like wrap up real fast, I just have a quick, random, fun question.
Sure.
What are you watching? TV?
Oh, that's good. I just told you one show I watched.
That's one of them.
We just watched an interesting a movie based on truth on Netflix called Dark Water. Have you guys seen that one?
No.
But I saw the commercial for it. I've been meaning to see it.
It's
Is
really
it good?
interesting. It's a great story about an attorney working on a problem in an area that they think is a pollution problem in an area
Oh, interesting.
by DuPont that is like
Is it
way
documentary?
bigger than they think it is.
Documentary?
No, it's based on a factual situation, but it's a
interesting.
drama. It's
They've
really,
been
really
releasing lots of those lately, and they're
good.
quite good.
So I watched that one. That's really good.
Interesting.
And then I read a lot. I've been reading a lot of stuff. So
What do you got?
I read this book. Well, a couple of books I'm reading. There's one great book that I've read recently called The Power of Habit. I don't know if you've ever seen that one before. It talks about routines and rewards. And I like to read the news. I like to read the Journal, Wall Street Journal.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
So it's a little more down the line, the middle of the
Utah
line.
Utah Business
Business
Magazine, you've been reading that a
And
lot.
Utah Business, I memorize. No, I
We
don't
memorize.
read.
We do both memorize that.
I
before and after
memorize
the show.
that. I was just talking what a beautiful
Every morning.
Like you guys
every
do such a good job with that.
It is
Honestly,
it's absolutely
a
top
beautiful.
notch.
It's a beautiful magazine.
It really is.
So
Thank you.
What are you watching?
really great.
What am I watching?
Oh, yeah, what are you watching?
I was a little late to watching Severance,
Oh.
but creepy.
I haven't seen it.
It looked like it was really creepy. I was watching a thing on that yesterday. I
it's
was like,
pretty good.
yeah, from that guy from Parks and Rec.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that was good.
Let me tell you a really good show. Okay, this is my favorite show. It's called Trying. Have you seen that?
No.
Apple Plus.
I've
No.
seen a few episodes, or did I finish that?
It is my favorite show. It's like Bluey, but for adults. It's like the cutest, coolest
It's
show.
where they're
ever.
trying
They're trying to have kids
and they're
adopt.
and they're babysitting in the beginning,
I don't know if they're babysitting.
and they do like a treasure hunt or something with a
Yes.
couple of kids. Yes, I
Yeah,
watched
it
that
is-
series. It's
that
good.
Ah,
is
I've never
a
seen it.
really
Yeah.
good. It's
That's
my
awesome.
favorite show.
British,
It's really
I
good.
think.
It is-
Trying.
It's British. Yeah.
Okay, I'll check it out.
Okay,
for
check
sure.
it out.
Good
Well,
one.
thank you. Thanks again.
Thank you,
both of
guys.
coming on, and wish you the best of luck.
Thank you so much. Appreciate it.
Thanks.
Maximize your sales team's potential with Volcanic Retail University. Our courses cover everything from foundational retail knowledge to advanced strategies for established brands. Go to university.volcanicretail.io and use code RWG for 30% off.